Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. By the time you see this video, it'll be Monday. And I thought, what better way to start off the week than pissing off a large number of my viewers? So tonight, I'm going to address a topic that has come to me in a lot of emails, has been asked of me in the live chat several times, but I have been reluctant to cover it on video because it's kind of a divisive subject. And I didn't really want to play into that because I think a lot of divisive subjects these days are created just to make the gun community look bad. And I really don't want to play into that. I know a lot of gun channels and stuff love to play into it anytime there's something divisive. They'll make t-shirts and they'll make memes and etc. But that's just because they're trying to keep you angry and divided and pissed off so that you don't pay attention to the fact that they're not doing anything for your rights in this country. They're just trying to get rich off the battle. So they love to try to divide people with stuff and keep people angry and manipulate them. So the gun community is kind of easy sometimes. I don't mean easy like you pay for their dinner and their legs go up in the air. I mean easy as in they're easy to manipulate because the people they trust, like gun channels and stuff that they really shouldn't trust, feed them this stuff all the time. And a lot of people in the gun community tend to be more conservative. A lot of them tend to feel disenfranchised by the modern system. A lot of them also are just angry about the injustices that people who believe in the Constitution face these days. So there's a lot of anger there. And like I said, these groups, manufacturers, political groups, gun channels, they're more than willing to manipulate these feelings and intensify your anger and your division simply so you don't start asking them tough questions and so you'll buy their products. So division is something that runs rampant. And like I said, I didn't want to participate in this one, but I am going to answer because I think this is kind of an important question now because I've been getting it a lot. And I want to kind of tie it into the bigger picture for the gun community and why I think this is important. As you know, we have a lot of enemies on the left, the Bloombergs, etc. And these people got a lot of money. They spend a lot of time thinking, well, how are we going to disarm these people? And we know it's not about safety or, people's lives. It's nothing like that. It's about control and disarming the population so that we don't rise up and go, hey, why does 1% of the people have 90% of shit and the rest of us are starving? Well, let's just go take their shit. They want to make sure they're the only ones with any power, that we are disarmed and that their armed guards could easily repel us and their private police forces, their private armies that masquerade as police forces can take us out easily. So that's what it's about. And they know they can't fight our message because we have numbers on our side, we have facts on our side, everything is on our side of the argument. So what they have to do is discredit the messenger. So they seed society and the media, etc., with these hot button topics to rile us up and make us look bad so that they can point at us and go, racist, bigot, homophobe, things like that. And it works way too well sometimes. And this is one of those cases. As far as critical race theory is concerned, well, I read as much of it as I could and found it very boring and found a lot of it to be stuff I already knew. But I've studied this stuff before. A lot of people haven't. Maybe it's something you've never heard, but maybe you'd be interested in it. But I didn't find it all that interesting, and I definitely didn't find it to be anything I didn't already know. So, which is why I was surprised when a lot of people seemed to be so adamantly against it. So then I started asking questions. Why are people adamantly against it? I would say okay, what part of it do you think is inaccurate? What part of it do you think is wrong? Where do you think they're lying? Whatever. And that doesn't seem to be what most people have a problem with. I don't think most people say, well, it's wrong. We never did this or we never did that. I think most people acknowledge that. I think most people acknowledge the United States even. A lot of shit gone down in the history of the United States. We've done a lot of heinous things. And I think most people are not trying to deny that. I think most people just think that this isn't the time for this kind of thing. This isn't the time for this type of divisiveness. That most people know this stuff. And this isn't who we are now as a country. A lot of people are like, oh, we need to start facing our racist past so we can move beyond it. We've already moved way beyond where we were. So I think when things like critical race theory rile people up, I think one of the reasons is because they see so much progress being made and they're not racist. We're not as racist as our parents were. Definitely not. Our kids are nowhere near as racist as we are. I mean, I was raised by a really racist grandfather, and I have a really racist father. My mother's not racist, luckily, and my grandmother wasn't racist, neither of them. And they kind of beat that out of us. Not literally beat it out of us, but told us this is not right. You don't treat people like this. You don't talk like this about people. They're people. So I got, opposing views there. So I'm not as racist as my grandfather or my father. I like to think I'm not racist at all, but I am. I mean, every one of us is a little bit racist in my generation, especially. I'm not a boomer. I'm a millennial, by the way. Wait, what am I? Gen Xer. I'm a Gen Xer. I missed boomer by a couple of years. So I'm not a boomer, but I am a Gen Xer. And I do have some racism in me. I mean, I often play the game on the highway when someone's going way too slow in the fast lane. I'll be like, okay, are they elderly, Asian, or intoxicated? And a lot of times you pull up and they're like, oh, they're all three, a trifecta. That's a little racist, and I catch myself with it. And I'm like, don't think that way. Don't think that way. But just reality. And I am often judgmental of people that I shouldn't be, especially young people. I'm like, they shouldn't be. And I'm like, well, what are they really hurting? But like I said, and my kids, they don't have a racist bone in their body. They wouldn't think of any difference about color or sexuality. They don't give a shit who someone's fucking or what color their skin is. So I think we're making a lot of progress in this country. And I think other people think we are too. We see it. I'm old enough to remember when there were plaques on water fountains and bathrooms in Alabama about whites only, blacks only, or coloreds, it said. I remember seeing these things in the early 70s when we went down there. Still there, even though civil rights had already passed. And I remember back when black people wouldn't have been welcome into the same diner my grandfather stopped at when we went down there. Just simply wouldn't be. They wouldn't even think of trying. Even though they had the right to be there, they wouldn't be comfortable there, and they weren't welcome. So there was a lot more division then. It's a lot better now. And I think a lot of people, when they see things like critical race theory, they're just like, they're just dwelling in the past. They're wallowing in the past. And all it's doing is creating a reason for some people to say, well, see, that's why I'm never going to succeed, because the white man's doing this. I honestly do think that pretty much every poor person now has an equal opportunity to pull themselves up out of the mud. And it isn't a big opportunity. It gets smaller every year. But it's not just black people. It's poor people in general. There's a big problem in this country, but I don't think it's racism. I think it's classism. And I think the Bloombergs, etc., are trying to make our class, the working class, the poors, as defenseless as possible, so that we don't ever rise up, because there's 99 of us for every one of them. And they know that's where the power is. So they have to take that away from us. And to keep us divided is one way to take that away from us. If they can keep us fighting with each other, they don't have to worry about us turning on them. It's kind of like how the gun channels, like I say, they keep you angry about other things so that you don't go, hey, wait, what are you doing besides raking in cash? It's all about distractions. It's all about this other stuff. But like I said, I don't think most people that are against critical race theory, especially in the gun community, are actually trying to deny what happened. They just think it's divisive. And it doesn't need to be in the schools in that manner. College, maybe. Yeah, it'd be great for community college and college. But to sit black and white and whatever kids down together in a classroom and start teaching them, like, here's why you should hate these kids. It just doesn't seem to be a good thing to do, especially when the country's making so much progress. It seems like it's almost some people getting mad that there is so much progress and that their claims that we're more racist now than ever, which you hear all the fucking time. And anyone my age can tell you, no way. When I was a kid, racism was so much worse. Homophobia was so much worse. Kids these days come out on TikTok when they're 14 years old, 15 years old. In my day, if you'd have done that, you'd have been beaten half to death every day at school. The very fact that they're able to do that now shows how much progress we've had. And a lot of people, I think, just want to deny progress because it doesn't fit their agenda. It doesn't fit the agenda of keeping people angry. And I hate to break it to you, there are sides of the argument on the left and the right who benefit from keeping people angry. That's not just a right thing, it's a left thing also. There's a lot of politicians on the left that if black people quit being mad at whitey, they wouldn't get elected because that's the only thing they got to get them elected. So this is a distraction. And unfortunately, like I said, the gun community falls for it too often. And I'm not dismissing people who argue against critical race theory. Because like I said, I think there is a big argument to say, yeah, this stuff's all true. Like I said, I don't know of anyone that's ever been able to show me anything in it that isn't true. We've done a lot of like nasty shit. Like I've said, we were in charge for a long time. When it was black people in charge in certain parts of the world, Greeks, other white Caucasian people were treated like garbage, enslaved, etc. And then when white people, Greeks, Romans, Europeans took over, we did shitty things and enslaved other people. And we've been in charge for a long time. So, of course, our race has a history of doing some pretty shitty things, even in this country. But that ain't what it's like now. And a lot of people aren't denying that it happened. They're just saying we're moving beyond it. Why dwell on it? We can teach it. People should know it, especially once they're adults, like in college, etc. But we don't need to be shoving this shit down little kids' throats. And that's where I think they're coming from. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't good at vocalizing their arguments or their opinions. So they're just like, fuck that critical race theory and ain't gonna teach that racist shit to my kids. And then that just makes us look like a bunch of angry, hillbilly, racist assholes. So I just ask people, would you have a problem with something like critical race theory? Think it out. Discuss it with people and then come up with a better way to express your beliefs. Because if there is somebody out there that thinks there's something in it that isn't true, let me know. Because so far, I may not find anything in it that I don't think is true. I haven't found anyone that actually pointed me to anything that they thought was untrue or turned out to be untrue. But I just think it's a bad case of not being able to put your message across in a way that's positive. People don't think. It's like another distraction going on right now. This whole Superman's son is bisexual. Oh my God, the world is coming to an end. No, it isn't. Who gives a fuck about a fictional character's sexuality? Who gives a fuck about a real person's sexuality, much less a fucking drawing's sexuality? I mean, I understand people getting involved with something they like Superman, etc., comic books. I remember I cried when Bambi's mom got shot. And I know that's stupid because I'm crying because they stopped drawing a deer. But I know we all get invested in these things. But like the Superman thing, I don't give two fucks who my neighbor's fucking. Why would I care who a fictional character is attracted to? I just don't. And for people who really get mad about that, I think ask yourself a question. Are you mad because you think it's an attack on you? I mean, come on, 99% of the world, everything you see is heterosexual, heteronormative. So for bisexual kids, gay kids, etc., to see one example, or maybe 10 examples out of 1,000 that represents them, that's a positive thing in my opinion. And when you bitch about it and be like, oh, that's disgusting, it's horrible, then you just told thousands and thousands and thousands of children, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, that they're disgusting. So be careful how you phrase things. Be careful how you react. And always know these things are just triggers to make us look bad as a community. The left, like I said, they got a lot of money. They spend a lot of time and a lot of that money on figuring out what things can we do, what issues can we push out there to the forefront that will make these people look bad. So we can discredit them so that their message no longer matters. Because like I said, they can't discredit the message of the pro-gun community. So I wish we would stop falling for this stuff. Stop paying attention to this stuff. The critical race theory, I understand a lot more. Especially since I've talked to people who don't like it, I understand the whole, it's just wallowing in the past. These kids are too young to learn this stuff, etc. I get all those arguments, and I agree with a lot of them. Because it seems like a lot of people on the one side of the argument want to pretend like this country's more racist than ever, or just as racist as ever. It isn't. It's nowhere near. Are we perfect? No. Is it getting better every day, I think? Yes. So I understand where some people are coming from. I don't have any problem with the actual information there. I just think, and I don't think a lot of people do either. I just think they question whether they're wanting to teach it at the right time to the right people for the right reasons. That's the real issue. And And I like to think most of us aren't racist these days. But like I say, we're used to being called that in the gun community. Racists, homophobes, bigots. I get called a homophobe all the time. It's funny. But we get used to it. And like I say, I just think it's a lot of it is about us not being able to put our opinions out there very well in the form of an argument. So I think if people would start stopping and thinking about what they're saying, especially with things like the Superboy is bisexual. Remember, when you say, oh, that's horrible, there might be a 15-year-old boy or girl standing right there who's gay or bisexual, and they're hearing you say, you're horrible, because one superhero is bisexual. I mean, I can right now sit down and probably name 2,000 superheroes and comic book characters. And I can probably name you 8 or 9 of them that are gay or bisexual. So it's not like you're just being flooded or hammered with anything. And it's like I said, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares if Abraham Lincoln was gay? Who cares if your neighbor is gay? Who cares if a comic strip character is gay? None of us should care. And he definitely shouldn't care enough to be able to be manipulated into looking like homophobes and maybe damaging the psyches of young people simply because we want to bitch about it, when we should just be ignoring it. Because like I said, it's all just a tactic to make us look bad. So I know, like I said, when I started this topic, I was going to say a lot of things that weren't going to be popular with a lot of people. But I think if you, instead of reacting immediately to this video, if you sit down and think about what I've said maybe, which I know by now most of you have already reacted before you get to this part of the video. But if you haven't, think about what you're going to say. Think about what you're going to do. Think about how you reacted to something like I said, the Superman thing. That doesn't matter. Think about how you reacted to critical race theory and think about why. And think about, am I playing into the hands of the left by making the gun community once again look racist or homophobic, etc. And I think when we know we're being baited, it makes it easier to be reasonable. And when you're reasonable, because you don't want to give them what they want, you're better at articulating your point. So let's stop being baited. Let's stop getting angry. Let's stop being manipulated. Let's stop. Let's think. Let's figure out, is this thing we're arguing about really matter? And if it does matter, are we voicing our opinion properly, or are we just looking like a raven loon because we've been triggered? Let's sit down and think out a good argument here. I've seen so many people that can sit down and basically recite the constitutionality of 1,000 different things, 100 different ways, and cite you 500 different statistics on gun use and blah, blah, blah. But then when you trigger them about something about race or sexuality, they freak out. And they suddenly become loons because they just get triggered and they lose their rational thought. Let's not be so easily triggered. Let's think about what we say. Let's think about our arguments. Let's present a reasonable front. And I think we can still object to things like critical race theory, because there's a lot of good arguments about why that shouldn't be in schools. A lot of good arguments. And none of them are racist. Well, some of them I'm sure are racist. There are some racist people. Just like there's some people on the other side that try to pretend like everybody's racist. But like I say, most of the arguments are not racist. And if they were articulated well, they would make sense to more people. And things like the Superboy thing, that just don't fucking matter. So stop falling into that trap. If you really feel that way about a fictional character, well, then you probably are a homophobe. You've either probably got some internalized homophobia, or you're just irrationally angry. Maybe your manhood is fragile, because I can't see how a comics book character has any effect on you. Like if Batman fucked Aquaman tomorrow, wouldn't matter to me. I'd be like, I think Aquaman could do better. But other than that, I wouldn't really care. If Wonder Woman was getting it on with Catwoman, most of you'd be like, woo, yeah, I like that. So check your biases. But like I said, let's stop being so easily baited. Let's think out our arguments. Let's not come across like assholes, because that's what the left wants us to do. They are creating these situations so that we look bad, because like I said, they can't discredit the message, so they're trying to discredit the messengers. All right, everybody, I forgot to turn my timer on, but I have a really big feeling that I am probably over on time, because I rambled quite a bit on that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and end the show today. But before I go, I want to let everyone know that the Silver Bullet giveaway was a success. I had hoped to raise $2,000. We raised $2,579. Now, we did only give $2,219, I think it was, to Athena's Angels Animal Rescue because there was a little chihuahua on one of the rescue sites that had broken its leg and needed surgery, a cute little chihuahua that needed $350 to reach their goal for their surgery. So we donated $350 of the money to that. I did ask the live chat if it was okay first. But like I said, still a big success. $2,200 is no small amount of money for a small animal rescue. That can go a long ways for them. So big success. I also want to remind everyone that we are still doing the Veterans Day giveaway. Storm and Norman Gunworks has made and donated a rifle for a giveaway. He's the one doing the giveaway. I'm just facilitating it. If you go over to tymppistolproject.com, you can use the Handgun for Heroes section of the website. I have reactivated that for now. You can use that section to nominate a veteran in your life who you think deserves an extra thank you come Veterans Day. Maybe they were a great soldier. Maybe they're involved in their community. Maybe they raised you when your parents couldn't. Whatever reason, go nominate a veteran. And then they will receive this rifle. And I forgot what it's in. I wrote it down, but I forgot to bring it out here. I know it's an AR-10. I know it's got carbon fiber furniture. I just am forgetting what caliber it's in. But I'll give you more information on tomorrow. Hopefully he'll send me a picture and I can show everyone. But like I said, I just want to tell everyone the fundraiser with the Silver Bullets was a success. I'll be getting those out. I still haven't heard from Shish Kebab, Amab Kabableeb. And the winner last night was, oh God, who was the winner last night? I'm forgetting. Oh, I can't remember. I'll put it on the website or something. But I wanted to tell everyone that before we go. Now that I've told everybody that, I just want to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, but it could still be a little better. And what it'll be if we as a community come together and start ignoring the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the people that want to get you riled up so that you don't pay attention to what's going on and so that you make yourself look bad. If we start ignoring all those people and keeping level heads about us and doing what's right for our rights in this country, what things will be for people who value the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.